Donald Trump is having Twitter problems. Take a look at some of this data, which shows that interactions with his tweets, that's when people or media respond, has been falling drastically from just under 0.6% when he was first elected to now a much lower figure. Now, this decline that you see there is happening as Trump tweets more often. I am joined by Jeff Jarvis, who's a prominent digital expert and media critic, professor of journalism at the Craig Newmark School, and a writer for the media blog Buzz Machine. So a good person to have. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, Ari.
You look at the declining chart, and people who are opposed to Donald Trump might say, well, this is an interesting metric that they might see as good news because so much of what he tweets is the most controversial, baseless, often packed with lies. So this declining chart to them would be good news. On the flip side, the data shows that because he's tweeting more often, it's spreading it out. We on this show have a policy where we don't read off the tweets as news for just the words in them. They have to actually do something. Like when he announced the military policy change, we did quote that. Given all of that together, what do you see as important in this story?
You know, I was just thinking the other day, honest to God, that I don't read his tweets anymore. I refuse to follow him, so I have a TweetDeck column just for Donald Trump, and I used to check it every day, and I just stopped. I hate people who repeat themselves. I hate people who repeat themselves. You know, and he just does it over and over and over again. We've heard it all. We've heard everything he has to say.
So you think, and look, one of the very fair criticisms of the press during 2016 was just overly regurgitating. So only his rallies, not all the rallies. You could be C-SPAN and show all the rallies, but there was a fair criticism that his rallies were getting covered more than his Republican opponents, more than Democrat. When we're going to put it back up on the screen, the bottom line of this decline here would suggest that also with Twitter, the public, not the press, the public is interacting less as time goes on. Have they also determined that some of this is worth tuning out?
I think so. And I think that the real question for me, Ari, the next study I want to see is what are we doing in media? Because we are amplifying his messages. I do not think we should write a story every single time he writes a tweet.
Right.
We're amplifying what he says. I just saw Biz Stone, co-founder of Twitter, was in Oxford today, and he said before the Pelosi video of last week's kerfuffle was brought on by media, it was seen a total of 300 times on Twitter. We in media are amplifying this junk, and we've got to do something else. I've argued for some time, I want to see the New York Times, just and the Washington Post, just have a standing headline that says what he tweeted today, and put it all there, unless it's major, and give it context, but stop amplifying.
And you're speaking as a digital analyst. You also wrote this book about how Google works. You're describing that the internet gives us a very rapid feedback loop. It can be incredibly powerful for activism. We've had activists from Black Lives Matter who record something, and within hours, it's national. And they say that helps scrutiny. You're saying it also can be quite negative when the Pelosi stuff, while there is a way to fact check it, you're saying overreacting to it creates the problem that you claim to be fact checking? Yeah,
and I don't want to see Twitter or Facebook in the position of fact checking anybody. Certainly not you or me or even Donald Trump. I think that we in the democracy are having a conversation. We're relearning how to have a conversation after the Gutenberg era. We're figuring out how to talk to each other. And there are voices who were never heard in big old mainstream white old media that enabled things like Me Too and Black Lives Matter and Living While Black. And so I think we have to treasure all of that in a democracy while putting up with the guff of Donald Trump.
And wasn't it Sean Carter who said, hashtags and retweets, 140 characters in these streets?
Mose Allison said, if silence was golden, you couldn't raise a dime because your mouth is on vacation and your brain is on your vacation and your mouth is working overtime.
What are you're reading?
I had to. I went on Twitter.
What do you have?
I went on Twitter and I asked for help.
This is a crowdsourced
That's a crowdsourced lyric. I said I got to have some defense.
Well, we appreciate you being a good sport. I appreciate you preparing for the beat, sir. And wasn't it Simon and Garfunkel who said, that's the sound of silence?
I have nothing more to say.
We'll be right back. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.